Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I'm a South African young woman and I used to date a guy that was from Zim. This man, he was like the love of my life. He was everything that I had ever needed in a man. But here I am right now crying because of the decisions that I made. When I met this man, it's not like I was not dating anyone. There was a guy that I was dating, but we were fighting even though we had a child together. My child has since passed away because of the effects of these rituals. The devil will never give you anything for free. And even if you date someone who is like a devil worshipper doing all of these Ugutwala rituals, but it is going to affect you, to affect even those that are close to you, those that you love and cherish the most, as it happened to me, and I found out later on. So me and the man that I have a child with, we were fighting a lot because he was working, but each and every month, and it was stories after stories, I would tell him that at least I need some money so that I can buy some things for myself, but he was always complaining, always broke. But then you would hear stories of him going out with a girl, buying this for this other girl. But as for me, the mother to his son, he did not even check me at all until I told myself that, enough is enough. It is far much better for me to date a man who is not from my own culture. I am 30 years old now, and I have never shared this with anyone. For the past 3 years, I have been carrying this story in my heart, and I really never thought that I was going to end up sharing my story with strangers. But I am haunted and I am broken above it all after losing my child. I have been told by a man who also come from Zim, who is a prophet, that I am now a barren woman. Yes, after I had lost my son, I tried so hard to have another child with any random man. That was all that I wanted, so as to replace the son that I had lost. But I was then told that I was barren. I used to be in love with 2 men at first, and then I grew out of love with my baby daddy, because the blesser that I was dating, it was giving me so much love, so much that I had never even imagined that I would get love from a man with the way that this man, he was treating me. So I met this guy, a Zimbabwean man. He was working here in Johannesburg. I could not help but fall for him. He was not like any man that I had dated before. He was someone who thought always ahead for me. He made me to feel like I was really important. Before I could even ask him for anything, he would just look at my nails and he would say that, it is time, babe, for you to go and get your nails done. It is time for you to go and do this. And he would be giving me money. He was not like rich, but he could afford me. He could afford to take care of his family. Never even one day did I ever hear him complaining, saying that his family was going to bed hungry. He told me that the reason as to why he had selected me, it was because his wife did not understand him, and dating a married man should have been a red flag for me, but I chose to ignore it. I chose money over anything. He said that his wife was someone who was always moody, and their marriage was more about convenience, since she was a professional working woman that had made it possible for him to get a work permit in our country. And he was like, I've been looking for love. I have been looking for someone like you. He would say, looking at me, and I will just melt in front of him. You are my future. And I believe in each and every word that he used to tell me. But I now see that his love for me was not true love. For about a year in our relationship, one could not separate us. It was like we had known each other for the rest of our lives. He promised me the world. He painted a picture of a life where we were going to be together, to build a future that was going to be filled with happiness, that was going to be filled with love. I even thought that I was going to give him a child, plenty of them. I want to give you the life that you deserve. You would always remind me. And he told me that we were supposed to go to Mozambique, and I did not even know that us going to Mozambique, I was going to participate in a ritual. He spoke as if this was going to be a weekend getaway, so I agreed. After I had applied for my passport, we then went there. But what shocked me was that he was like, us going there, I am going to secure your future. And I could not understand what he meant by this weekend getaway and him securing our future. He then said, when we were in Mozambique, there is this other man that we need to see, but he stays in the rural areas. Are you comfortable to go to the rural areas? We were in the city at that time, staying at this other hotel, and I said, fine, it is okay. It will be time for me to explore Mozambique, because I never thought that I would be returning there again. So I agreed to go with him. Whilst we were on the way, he kept on talking about rituals, something that was harmless, that was going to bring me blessings. It is just a spiritual thing. So he said, there are a lot of people who do it. People do it all the times, and we are going to be rich, babe. You and I, we are going to be rich. I was just laughing, even though I did not even understand what was going on, until we arrived at this other house, in which I immediately recognized this house as a Sangoma's house. There were a lot of people that were there, and strange things that were happening at that traditional healer's house. And I knew that this man, he had brought me along for his rituals. He said that it was nothing special, for he was about to start a business, and this business that he wanted to start, it was going to give him a lot of money. And when you have a business, you need some charms, he said, for people to respect you. That is what he had came to collect. But to my surprise, I became the center of the rituals. That traditional healer gave him a knife, and I thought that he was going to slaughter me, because we were both kneeling down, and this man was then told to get up and stand behind me. And I was really scared. I wanted to cry, but they had given me some charms that made me to feel like I was paralyzed. Rather, what he did was that he made a small cut on my arm, and then the blood started to drip into the clay pot. And then after that, the traditional healer spoke of words that I could not even understand. After that, he then said, you are blessed forever. You are going to be blessed. And then I was told to get out of that consultation room. And after I had gotten out of the consultation room, that was when I heard them talking as if they were arguing. Later on, I was called back. I was then given some water. It was that same clay pot. I clearly saw that there was still blood in there, and I was told to go and fill it up with a little bit of water and mix it. There were herbs in there, and I had to wash my private part. The moment that I washed my private part, I felt as if there was a hand that went into my private part and started pulling on my uterus. It was painful. I was given more charms to drink, and I felt better. We then returned back to the city where we were staying until we returned back to South Africa. And when we got back, this man, like his life, it changed overnight. When he came to pick me up, to my surprise, he was driving a double cab Toyota Hilux, and it was like brand new, really beautiful. I said, where did you get this car? It was like, it is just a small. It did not explain anything. The next thing, when he came back, he was driving another brand new vehicle, and he said, that Hilux, I saw that it is an old model, even though it looked brand new. He was driving a GD6 now, and then he started ignoring me. I tried to get hold of him. He stopped answering my calls. He cancelled all the plans that we had, and he only texted me, and he said, I need to focus on my family, as if I meant nothing. Just like that, he was gone. I was heartbroken, and I said, I am going to get over it. A year after that ritual, that was when I started to experience severe pain in my lower abdomen, because I had slept with my other boyfriend whilst I was on my period. So I thought that maybe that was what was causing it. I said maybe it will go away, but each and every time that I will be on my period, the pain will be too bad, and it grew worse each and every day. I went to the clinic. but nothing worked. Then there came a smell like this foul smell. It is so bad, so much bad that sometimes I have to bath several times when I am with a man. Finally, after that, I went to a specialist who told me that my womb was severely infected beyond saving. It's as if the tissue is decaying. That woman said, we have no choice but to remove it. The doctor spoke. At 30 years old, I was told I will never be able to have children. I felt like my life was over, and that prophecy that had been given to me by that man from Zim, who was a prophet, after I had lost my son in that same year and started trying again to replace that wound that had been left open, but failing to fall pregnant, I saw that it was the truth when my womb was said was going to be removed. So the night before my surgery, I could not even sleep, and when I fell asleep, I had a dream that haunts me till this day. I was in this other room, and I asked myself, what am I doing in this empty room? So I then found out that I was in a very big mansion, and I kept on running and running, not finding any exit. It's like when I would get into a room thinking that this room will take me to the front door, then I'll see that I'll be back at the room where I was when I started. It was like a maze, rooms connected, and I was getting lost. And that was when I found out that my former boyfriend, he was in another room and he did not want to look at me. But I then found out that he was busy eating up my womb. When I woke up, I let out a scream such that even a nurse that was in that ward, she was shocked and she dropped a cup of coffee and she said, what is wrong? I could not even tell her the type of a dream that I had, for I said, this is too much for another person to handle, and I started crying, and she said, it is going to be okay. I know that you are still young and you know that you are going to lose your womb. If there was any way we could have saved it, but the infection will kill you. You need to understand that. And I had that surgery. To this day, I don't have a womb, but no man knows that I do not have a womb. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our admin who helped us with this translation. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.